Hey everyone and welcome to Storytime. My name is Jake and today we are going to be looking at the subreddit r/prorevenge. So sit back, relax and enjoy some Reddit stories. Stealing my notes? Guess who won't graduate high school? So this happened in 2018 when I graduated high school. A quick overview of the Swiss school system. Normally you go to school until 9th grade. If you want to go to university later, you change to grammar or high school from 8th to 12th grade. I decided to study and went to high school. Also in Switzerland, my state, canton at least, everything under 75% is a fail. We have a really strict thing going on there. There, I quickly became friends with Chelsea, my now girlfriend, and Alicia. Alicia is the kind of person that is funny if you don't have her around too much. She is always the victim, and she can only talk about herself, etc. But if you spend too much time with her, you are a mess. She is also never responsible for things happening to her because she grew up in the foster care system. Whatever. So this happened about 2 months before our finals. Now, graduating means passing the finals, obviously, but not only them. The finals are half of your eventual grade. The other half is your last report card. If I had an A in my final English exam but a C in my last report card, my eventual grade would be a B, and so on. Alicia really struggled with that because her last report card wasn't that good. She had to excel in most of the subjects to graduate, so you would think she'd write as many notes as possible and study pretty early, right? Nope. She procrastinated until 2 months before our finals, while I and Chelsea studied our butts off. Now, I was always the girl who offered her notes in our class group chat in case someone was interested. This gets important later. We had a fairly long list of things we had to be able to use in maths, and I wrote notes for every single topic and kept it in a folder in my locker. Only put some of them on the group chat just when someone was asking about a certain topic. One day, I went to my locker and they weren't there. I was freaking out. I spent weeks on writing them. I looked for them an entire week and had approximately 3 panic attacks because I thought I wouldn't pass now and had to do all of it again. That's when Alicia casually told me that she took them the other day when I asked her to get a book from my locker. She actually hadn't planned to tell me at all because it's not like you need them anyway, you had them long enough. If you didn't make copies, it's not my fault. The blatant entitlement was enough for me to come up with a plan, a vicious plan. Not only had she stolen my notes, if I hadn't bothered her so much with it, she wouldn't have even told me she had taken them. She was only a high school friend anyway, and I knew I'd never do anything with her once we graduated. So frankly, I didn't care about what would happen to her. Her entitled, self-centered way was enough for me to finally burst. I apologized for making drama. It's okay, you are just like that sometimes. I was about to lose it, and just continued my school day. Now, Alicia kept calling me about notes, etc. Even before that, especially my notes for various books. She'd chosen the same book so she didn't have to study extra. I started to give her a wrong analysis and started to fake notes. Obvious enough to figure out they were wrong if she'd think herself, but not too obvious. If she'd read the books, she'd know it's BS. I did the same with our English books, and French. She already had my math notes, so I couldn't fake those. But I could fake German, French, English, chemistry, physics, and psychology. Now, after I invested so much time in faking notes, I watched it all go down a day before graduation. We went into a pub with our teacher to watch a football game I don't even remember, and she distributed our results. I passed with a 5.38. In Switzerland, the grades are from 1 to 6. 6 is the best, so about an A? And Alicia went pale. 3.21, which is about a D-. She had failed all of her classes but maths and psychology. Oops, it seems she really just read my notes. She didn't read the books she was supposed to read, she didn't read our textbooks. I had to hide a grin. My girlfriend thinks to this day it was cruel, but seriously? It was a damper for her entitlement and narcissism. From what I've heard, she is currently trying to repeat the year and try again, hopefully without stealing her friend's notes. I'm just imagining what the teacher would think about that. They're so confused about all these wrong answers. Changing a big fat target on my back to my boss being escorted out by security. I was one of 2 commercial writer/producers working in the production department of the local television station. Our department was responsible for producing both the newscasts and commercials for clients who purchased airtime on our station. The department is high stress. I had to manage multiple deadlines and provide creatives for about a dozen ad campaigns every month. That being said, I always met my deadlines and our sales department was always complimentary of my work, steering the more important clients my way. Unfortunately, managers in my department came and went with unsettling frequency. In the 9 years I was there, I had 6 different managers. Most often, the managers were passing through with their sights set on snagging upper-level management jobs in larger television markets. This meant their experience actually doing the work of television production was often minimal, so they had a tendency to not interfere with our work so long as clients were happy and deadlines were being met. Given the managers were so disengaged, I told our general sales manager about my idea for saving time and money in the department, and he suggested that I apply for the production manager position the next time it opened up. So I did. I did not get the job. I was told I was too important maintaining good client relationships through my work as a producer. No big deal, I thought. I was happy as a producer. Unfortunately, the person they did hire for the position ended up being a monumental jerk of the first order. I'll call him Bob. The first thing Bob wanted to know was who in the department had applied for the position he now filled. I don't know what idiot in upper management thought it would be a good idea to tell him, but someone did. It soon became apparent he wanted to find any excuse he could to fire me, because that was just the kind of insecure idiot he was. It began by him writing me about the time I was taking to complete commercial productions. Then he accused me of undercharging clients in my billing. He wanted me to wear a suit and tie, which he knew I hated. As the writing on the wall became clear, I began documenting every single interaction with him, taking notes about what he said and contradicting his accusations with the facts. All the while, he is managing to pee a whole lot of people off in our department, and morale really began to tank. Bob was petty, vain, and given to things like announcing how lavish and wonderful a vacation he was planning would be. He was going to Aruba, so he'd put up travel posters and printed out a ridiculous sign he'd taped to his office door that would say something like, "My island adventure begins in 2 weeks." All this served to remind us that he was the only one in our department who made enough money to take that kind of vacation. Eventually, an incident occurred where I missed a deadline, through no fault of my own. The client wanted to change up the creatives at the last minute, and we had to bump the film shoot. Somehow, Bob got it in his head that I should have been a mind reader and anticipated the client's wishes before they were communicated. He calls me into his office and begins berating and threatening me. I had had enough. I'm the kind of person who will take a lot of stuff with patience and grace, but when I am finally pushed to my boiling point, I freaking explode. I started yelling back, "You're a liar, and if you think I don't know how to handle this client, then fine, let me see you freaking do it, because I'm out of here." And I walked off the job. I'm so amped up by what just transpired after leaving the office, I walk all the way home, a distance of more than 6 miles. Just as I am nearing my house, my cell phone rings. It's Bob. Evidently, it just dawned on him that he would, in fact, have to produce the ad campaign himself because our other producer had the week off. He hemmed and hawed and finally blurted out something that was quite revealing. "If we lose this client, we'll both get fired, and I can't afford to lose another job." Really? So you've been fired from all your other jobs? What a surprise. I tell him to go screw himself, because I'm not taking his stuff for 1 more minute. All the while, I'm literally trembling with the knowledge I've walked off the job without another job to go to, and I have a wife and 2 kids to support. Thankfully, the next call I get is from the general sales manager. You know, the guy who recommended I applied for Bob's job, resulting in this whole mess? By now, news of my blow-up evidently made it back to him. He asks me about what happened and I fill him in and apologize for walking off the job, while also telling him there's no way I'm working for Bob. He says, "Yup, leaving work wasn't a good idea, so do me a favor and come back. Email me the details of what happened and I'll see what I can do." Thanks to my copious note-taking of all my interactions with Bob, it takes me no time at all to send him the complete history of Bob's boobery. So I return, hoping to avoid Bob. Thankfully, his door was closed and I keep my head down in my cubicle. A half hour before quitting time, I notice our general manager and a security guard getting off the elevator together. I stand up to see where they are headed, and I am elated to see it is directly towards Bob's office. What transpires is even better than the revenge options I was contemplating. Bob emerges from his office carrying a box of his belongings, including the rolled up Aruba travel poster, and is escorted by the security guard to the escalator. Now, standing up in my cubicle, he turns towards me, his face beet red with embarrassment. As our eyes meet, I flash an ear-to-ear grin. It's kind of a good reason for not being promoted, but it's kind of like an awful reason, like too good at your previous job to be promoted to the next job. I hope he got the job after. Total humiliation. I work in security and have been for years. A common practice is to complete a report of what happened during your time. I specifically work in patrols. Basically, you go from location to location checking on each site. After each site, you write down what you did at the location. I have 40 sites to watch over every night. For this reason, things tend to get very copy-paste. Most locations require the same thing. Check exterior, checking stairs, doors, damage, you get the point. I got a new manager who is disconnected with how patrols work. He wants us to make unique entries into every single log. When I mean unique, I mean none can be close to similar. So if I state I patrolled the exterior of the building, I can't use that phrase for any of the other logs. You could see how that could cause me a lot of problems and is a massive time waster. After about a week of being borderline harassed and threatened to make each log 100% unique or else, let's see about that. We have so much to look after, we have thick binders giving detailed information for each site, and what's required of you. They're called site orders. Every time I would complete a site, I just copy-pasted all the information into the log. Each log has a small window that you could put 50 words into before it becomes overwhelming to read. Each log I posted had no less than 500 words directly from the site orders. After my first day doing this, I expected to walk in and get yelled at. However, nothing happened. I got no emails, no talking to zero reaction. However, I still hear that the other security officers are still getting chewed out. I decided to see how long I could get away with this. 2 months later, and still no one says anything, not a word. We have quarterly meetings to talk about accidents, how the patrol group is doing, what's going wrong and what's good. Cue the manager. The first thing he brings up is the logs, and how almost everyone is failing, how we should all know better. You're not kids, I shouldn't be holding your hands. The only adult in here besides me is OP. I look up at him, and his smile was almost disturbing. He then shows a log I wrote up. He begins to talk about how everyone should be like me, how no one deserved to work here but me. The looks I was getting from everyone was brutal. He talked for about 20 minutes, constantly using my name. He would have kept going, but I interrupted him. I asked why he called me out, and how inappropriate it was for him to do so. He looked up at me and said, "Only children interrupt someone when they are talking." I told him that he has a strange obsession with children and he needed to get help. The room was dead silent for a solid 30 seconds as we made direct eye contact. I then turned to the group, telling them that I have been copy-pasting my report for the last 2 months. I told them that I just copy-pasted the site orders over and over again. The manager's face started getting real red. He, after all, wanted us to make unique logs. He started to scramble a bit as he pulled up other logs of mine, only to show that everything I said was true. After that, the whole group jumped on him. Many had been screamed at for the exact same thing I had been doing. It was brutal. I don't think I've ever seen so many people yell at one person at the same time. The manager slid into his chair just looking at the computer. It was 15 minutes of just utter verbal shouting. He quit a few weeks later. That comment saying he has a strange obsession with children and needs help, that's just a power play. Hey everyone, I hope you all had a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you want to check out some other videos, then click on screen right now or check out the playlist down below. If you enjoyed that video, then please do leave a like. And if you want to submit your own stories, then you can do so by joining the Discord in the top link in the description. But thank you so much for watching and I will see you very soon.